Are you okay with that? And did you want to kick it off, Shankar?
I think so. I was just looking for Manoj and Devapriya, but I think for the sake of time and efficiency, we will get started. I hope they join in the meantime. Uh, Har- Harti, it's great to meet you officially. We've always been talking on WhatsApp, and it's great to see you in person. Devapriya, hi, you're there on time. So wonderful welcome. Uh, as I mentioned, today is about the India, the Cross Metro India uh, event that introduces global chamber from various cities, the high points, the opportunities, and other news that can actually help and create a certain sense of momentum between the EDs around India and around the world. So there is a lot of information that we have, and I thought it is great if we could unlock it and create momentum and probably create wealth, have fun along the way. So Doug is kind enough to help me put this thing together. I'm excited to see so many people around from different parts of the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as we say in Global Chamber. We are a global tribe, 525 metros. And today's high point, I always thought that there must be someone of a certain caliber who has achieved, been there, done that. And a close friend of mine, also associated in many other ways, Jayant Murthy, is going to be coming here to talk about his experiences working with Kaizen in India, in Africa, in Asia, in Japan. And it's going to be pretty interesting, insightful. And I think this can also help a lot of Global Chamber executive directors to find ways and means to influence their local areas by bringing the philosophy, the management, and the on-ground applicability of the Kaizen Institute. Doug, I know, has been closely associated with this institute at the level of the founder, and I'm looking forward to hearing a few words from Doug as well as Jayant Murthy comes on. He has requested me to wait for 10 or 15 minutes, which I think will be quite on time as we start by talking about ourselves, what we do, and how we are associated in our local area. So I will start with Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad, as you know, is not really the capital city, but it is the commercial capital city of Gujarat. Gandhinagar is the capital city of Gujarat. Having said that, these are twin cities where world-class expos, global summits take place on and off, and great momentum in foreign direct investment, which is my pet area of focus and interest. And what I do is I facilitate international companies to navigate the way to invest in Gujarat. And to give you a background, Gujarat recently set up this semiconductor investment, and that's a very high point, having the sector ready for many semiconductor investments to come into Gujarat. So we are looking to find investment, facilitate, and take things forward, joint venture, and all of that. And Gujarat is also the hub for renewable energy with great potential, and policies have been decided on attracting investments, expansion in the renewable energy sector. So that's two. I wouldn't go more, but I would suggest that pharmaceutical sector is also a major area in Gujarat. Some of the top guys of India and some of the billion-dollar companies are based in Gujarat. Talking about billion-dollar companies, the Ambanis, the Reliance, the Adani Group, the Port City founders, and much more is happening in Gujarat. So it's a very buzzing economy. And we look forward to collaborate and cooperate with executive directors, their members, and their associated networks to reach out. And we are creating a funnel. That's my main point. And I would turn to, I can go with Devapriya if you like to come on and explain what you do in the most advanced city of India, which is Gurgaon. And Devapriya is at the hub of activities over there. She's half in India, half in UK, I know, and she's pretty much a prominent personality in Delhi, hobnobbing with trade officials and embassies. And we'd like to hear more about what you do, Devapriya. Over to you.
Good evening from Gurgaon. Uh, Good morning to you, Doug. Hi, how are you? And
Hi,
thank you,
Deborah.
Shankar, for hosting this very interesting event. Hello to everyone around the world. Um, and thank you for that kind introduction. I try and get some things done. So, a quick background about me. I've been in the corporate space for 18 long years before I pivoted to entrepreneurship. And now I run a venture called Connexus Global Ventures, where we help women-led businesses to go global. We also help companies that are looking to come into India with branding and marketing strategies. And I'm a brand strategist with many companies based around the world, where I help them with their branding and marketing strategies, because marketing and branding is what I've done in my corporate world for a very long time. So I wear two hats essentially, as a marketer and as a brand strategist, and as my second hat is as an enabler for businesses to go global. And that's how I try and help businesses even inside of Global Chamber as executive director of Delhi and Gurgaon, Delhi and NCR put together. So we've got a number of interesting initiatives that we've planned. Doug, you'd be happy to know that we've identified some members for our advisory council. We are in talks with companies like associations like TIE to sort of do a lot of the, for us to take Global Chamber members to many of their events. As you know, Shankar, the India Global Forum and other events happen, which are flagship events. And we feel that our members will benefit tremendously by attending some of these events in person. But simply being part of the Global Chamber ecosystem, I think we have access to so many more events around the world that our members can be part of and gain from, not just from a Delhi NCR perspective, but from a pan-India perspective. So that is something that, we are looking forward to currently.
Perfect. That's great. Great to know that. And I just want to interject and say that I did mention that if any one of us from the executive director's point of view are there low-hanging fruits or anything like a easy to go forward with any project in their respective cities, that'd be great. Because here I'm closely connected with the GIFT City, the financial tech capital in Gandhinagar, and anybody has got any international companies that want to actually set up an offshore, we are here to facilitate that. That's an easy one for entry into India. So that's where I can come forward and make my connections available for any investments or any funding organizations to come and set up their business. There are a lot of opportunities going on there, facilitating all the private banking services and whatnot. So that's what it is. And Devapriya, if you have anything, anytime, even you can put it in the chat and we can look at that. Okay.
Definitely, and likewise to all the other EDs. If if you know of any good North India based organizations that can benefit by becoming part of the Global Chamber ecosystem, we're here to help. Happy to get connected to anybody and talk about the benefits and help them get connected to their asks. Basically, what is it that they can give and what are they looking to get? I'd be happy to take this forward for anybody, any of you in your ecosystems. If you're looking at anyone in North India, any businesses in North India to be strengthened through our connections.
Thank you, Devapriya. Thank you.
Shankar, I would like to come in here. Sorry, Doug, can I take 2 minutes? Hello?
Absolutely. Is that RT?
Yes.
Hi,
That's
RT.
me.
Good to see you. Yeah, and just Shankar, just as a frame of reference,
Yes.
this is a monthly conversation that's really focused in on opportunities across India, and we're very fortunate today to have several of the executive directors that we have from India here. I think we have a couple other folks from the region in Asia, and so hopefully we'll get to everyone, and then anyone who is in the room. I hope will be able to contact you or talk to you by the end of the hour. We do wrap up at the top of the hour India time, so this is 7 to 8 p.m. India Standard Time, which here on the West Coast is 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. And so we do plan to end at that time. We also have a guest speaker, as Shankar mentioned, Jayant Murthy of the Kaizen Institute, and he'll be talking about the opportunities there. So RT, you've been a long time collaborator. I really appreciate all the work that you do and that we've done together. And now I'm just so pleased and honored that you're coming on as executive director for Global Chamber Goa. Let us know definitely a little bit more about you and what are some of the opportunities you're seeing in Goa right now?
As I did my last the first edition of my pharma and healthcare exhibition last year, I got a very good response in Goa. And what I see, I mean, like I have been associated with Goa for a long time now. It's half of my native place also. But in the last 4 to 5 years, the change I'm seeing in the industries and the approach of people is more evolved and more out there. People are really interested in doing business, inviting more businesses from outside. So the whole scenario in terms of the ecosystem also is changing, and that's really very encouraging. And that's where I am also very happy and excited to work in that space. What excited me more while Shankar was talking was the Ahmedabad scenario. Shankar, this year, the second edition of Kalpurja Pharma and Healthcare, I'm organizing at Gandhinagar at the Helipad Exhibition Center. And I'm also working parallelly. I hope Manoj is here because even he is aware of this. With a pharma industrial city, which is coming up in Moria village near Gangdor. So these people are coming up with 170 units for the pharma and healthcare companies. So as you were talking about the investment and the Gujarat scenario part, yes, that is really very encouraging. And I was going to reach out to you regarding this project as well as my own Kalpurja happening in August on 16th, 17th, and 18th. It will be a 3-day trade expo on pharma and healthcare segment. And of course, will be of the 2-day conference. And that coming back to Goa, I feel as our tribe is growing, and because I'm going to start a new chapter, I'm really looking forward to organizing a kind of a leadership conclave of global chambers over there, where all the India ED counterparts will be able to come forward, and we can really talk about global chambers in a bigger way. Of course, I'll share the thought process with you on an email or a draft note, but this is what I have in mind. And I already have a list of some advisory members out there in Goa, because my association with GCCI, that's the Goa Chamber of Commerce, is also there for the last 3 to 4 years now. So even that list I will share. So yes, certain things and preparations has been happened from my side, and I would really like to share with you. So that's how things are looking great on Goa part, and as well as I'm excited about the Ahmedabad. So Shankar, when I'm coming this week to Ahmedabad, I might touch base with you, and if you have time, we can catch up.
No, you must. We will connect definitely. And
Yes.
the good news is that I'm closely associated with the pharma industry and associations and their president. So I might be able to do something of some value to what you are doing, but I'm excited to receive you and see what we can do together.
Yes, same here. Same here.
RT, do you have a residence both in Goa and in Mumbai? Or you seem to be going back and forth quite a bit.
Yes, I do have.
Got it. Okay,
Yes.
very good. So that's just good for all of us to keep in mind. As you mentioned,
Yes.
Manoj doesn't seem to be here yet, but hopefully he'll
Yes.
join out of Mumbai. Shankar, it's a little bit, well, no, I guess it's, well, it is a little bit later there. Nam had to drop off, but before we get to the other speakers, Tessa, could you introduce yourself so that we could understand a little bit more about you? Tessa is a connection through a member in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, and we're talking about having her be a global advisor there. Are you able to speak and share more about your situation?
Yes, hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you for joining today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation too. So, good evening from Indonesia. My name is Tessa, and I am currently just finished my studies in Malaysia University. I studied English literature, and since I am only waiting for my graduation on November of this year, so I'm looking for some opportunities to improve and grow myself. And one of them is joining Global Chamber. And tonight, mainly I'm only observing what's happening today. So it's good to see you all.
Thank you very much. I think, as some may know, Jakarta was one of the first chapters for Global Chamber because of a program that, through an internship program at Global Chamber, I was able to help and participate, and spent a couple weeks there and got set up in several different chapters. I have not been to Yogyakarta, but all around, mainly Jakarta and Bali. And we do have an event on Indonesia in about a month or a month and a half. And so hopefully we'll have a representation from members for Jakarta, for Bali, and then hopefully Yogyakarta, and maybe some other locations. So sorry, Shankar, I just wanted to make sure that Tessa was introduced, and please go ahead with the roundtable, please. Oh, you're muted.
Thanks. I'm saying happy to see Jayant here. He's managed to be, in the midst of the traffic jam, and you made it. That's great. Wonderful, Jayant. Happy to welcome you here today. Going by our format, I'll just wrap it up in a few minutes. But I wanted to bring Andre on board. He's based out of Pune, and also shuttling between Europe and Pune, I think, Russia. And so we'd like to have a few words and the latest information that you have to offer to the global audience.
Thank you, Shankar. Thank you. My triangle is very much Pune, Dubai, Mumbai these days. So I keep working with the Russian squad, not anymore like in touch with the Russian government, but like still in touch with the community. But mostly like we're Indian focused and like we're Asian focused, to be precise. Thank you, Shankar. Thank you, Duke. I'm an ex-diplomat. I'm an international advisor, and I'm a managing partner of the Project Hub HIC Capital Group, which is the global advisory for fundraising and international extension. So here, we are exchanging with a great number of members here, and I'm very happy to see Arti, because Goa is actually the part of this, we can say, like business ecosystem, which is represented by me and Manoj. So that's a very natural extension, and if this thing happens, that will be great for all of us. So we can exchange more intensively about what can be done, what is happening everywhere. Regarding my activities since February, when I have become fully powered executive director of Pune chapter, so we initiated the talks with several board members, so including the top conglomerates here. I mean, like in Maharashtra and overall in Pune, and this is pan-Indian level, like brands like Aditya Birol, Larsen and Toubro. But the most important thing here that I would like to highlight, that we already exchanged about the events. So but the modus operandi for the events, how we can exchange, how we can make the events accessible, how to make them partnering us and how to make us partner in the event. But I have observed what is basically is happening with Global Chamber. Let's say like the example of Yuka, yeah, where she is becoming the entry point for the event. Yeah, I think Duke can understand perfectly what I mean, like and what's happening in the non-Indian chart in this regard. So like, and presently I have started the discussion with one conglomerate, which is a technological conglomerate. Why not to actually own the event? So like, why not to launch the event, which will be like global chamber event, like in the context of what's happening here in Pune and what's happening here in India, like for a very certain reason. Like last month, it was a big event from which I shooted my greeting video, which was about defense. It was MSME Defense India Expo. And this is the first event of the modus operandi where it was run like with the facilitation of local bureaucracy, like with the support of the government of Maharashtra. But actually, the layout of this was shaped by the private players. And it was a great support on the ground. And the same design can be used because this model is well tested for several other industries, which can be very interesting globally, especially if we speak about railways. And we have here a representative of Japan, like which is a great story. Possibly, I hope Kaizen Institute still has that like connect with Toyota, and Pune still has that connect to Toyota, by the way. Like through Kirloskar, they keep the technology. Through Kirloskar, they keep the unit, which is still producing Toyotas here. So like basically, if we can make this happening, I will have a separate talks with Duke. Like Duke, I will appreciate your time. I think that will be shaped, let's say within 10 days, hopefully. So my plan was to have clarity during March. Like, of course, we have some iterations of like Indian tempo culturally and elections wise, but like I hope that during March we'll achieve a certain clarity in this regard. So like, and technological and production partner for Indian Railways, that can be potentially a huge thing. And if we as Global Chamber can own this as an event, I will invite all the executive directors to support us in this movement. So far, it's a little bit of announcement kind of thing, but I appreciate everyone to be present here. Thank you, Shankar. I think we'll exchange about this as well. Duke, thank you for having me. Like, and I wish everyone best of luck, and I'm sure that this more intensive online-offline mode is the best modus operandi for India. Thank you.
Shankar, just a couple things to build on what Andre mentioned. First of all, going back to Indonesia, the infrastructure projects there are extraordinary. You know, the building of the metro system, for instance, just in the last few years is phenomenal, and including the relocation of the capital as well. So I'm sure that'll come up next time. You mentioned about the railways. There, we're doing an event coming up in Texas for the Japanese investment for a bullet train in Texas. And so there may be some synergies there. So Christopher Herring would be someone to connect up with for you regarding the potential synergy, especially if there's a Japan connection with the railway story there. Otherwise, I think we have about a half hour left, and we probably should devote the bulk of that to Jayanth Murthy. Shankar, thank you for pulling this together. I think, as all of us know, Kaizen is a global phenomenon, has been for decades. I would say, at least my own perspective on it, is that it was really started by Dr. W. Edwards Deming, one of the great global leaders in business. He received a very special award from the Japanese government in 1960 for his work in the 1950s that ultimately led to the Toyota production system, which was formalized around only maybe about 20, 25 years ago, but it was really the beginnings of it was in the 1950s. They progressed in the 1960s while American companies did not really listen to Dr. W. Edwards Deming. The Japanese did, and the Toyota and many other industries benefited, and spun out of that were many different philosophies, including Kaizen. Jayanth is the expert, so I'll let him continue the story, but we're very pleased, Jayanth, to have you here today. We look forward to hearing what Kaizen applications are most appropriate for us to consider today, and a little bit more so that we can benefit from your knowledge and expertise. We really appreciate it. Shankar, did you want to say some additional words and then introduce Jayanth?
I just wanted to say, Jayanth, I have known him since years, and the kind of leapfrogging expertise and where he has reached is unbelievable. And he has been a scholar in the United States. He has studied in India and United States. And besides that, every time I call him, he's in some city of the world. So that sums it up, what Jayanth does in various countries of the world, especially in Asia, India, Africa, Japan, and places like that. And recently, Jayanth took a whole lot of Indian CEOs to Japan to have an in-house experience and the entire process of how Japanese factories work. And I was able to connect with Jayanth and take his time today while he has a very busy schedule. Thank you, Jayanth, for being here, and welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Shankar. And a big apologies to everybody. I joined in late. My mistake. I couldn't calculate my travel time, got stuck in a traffic jam. So what I'm going to do is, in the true, as a student of Kaizen for 30 years, and in the true spirit of Kaizen, I'm going to jump straight into the topic and not waste even a few minutes or a few seconds. You know, I'm acutely aware that people on this call, we're about 18 of us, I don't know you people, and except for one or two introductions that I just heard. And I don't know what you people do. So with that background, I'm going to try and make sense, and I'll try to explain to you very quickly in about 10 to 12 minutes what really this is. And I hope that I make some sense to you people, and I can trigger some amount of thinking in your mind, which could help you in your whatever you do, whether you run a business or you do, anything that you do. Can you confirm?
Jayanth, just so that we're all on the same page, these are all business people. They're all business leaders, and so they would either be running a business or a senior position in a company. So just something for you to keep in mind contextually.
Thank you so much. So can you see my screen?
We can, yes.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to be very quick, about 10 to 12 minutes, probably a little fast, but I want to keep some time for question answers. And essentially, the Kaizen Institute was established in Japan, as Doug was giving some background, about 40 plus years ago by our chairman, Masaki Imai. He was a Japanese man. And just for today, let's understand that he wrote the first book called Kaizen, based on what he had seen, what was happening in Japan. And based on his book, he started a consulting practice called the Institute, the Kaizen Institute, which operates in about 50 countries around the world. And I happened to partner with Mr. Imai, and we started Kaizen Institute in India in the year 2000. So we are 23 years in the business. We operate from India, and we have offices in Africa. So we support India and Africa for the Kaizen Institute. And we're about 90 engineers or Kaizen consultants, as we say, and we have fun every day. The reason why we have fun every day is because we tell a lot of CEOs that almost 85% of what they plan or they think they want to achieve, call it strategy or whatever, is not achieved. And this is not a number that I'm just throwing up from the hat, but a lot of Harvard Business and other studies indicate that almost 85% of strategies fail to achieve their objectives 100%, or they achieve it 50, 60, 70%. And to put it more, into a simple context, everyday context, probably, I keep joking that on the 31st December night, probably after a couple of beers, we take a lot of, resolutions, right? and then I'm going to start jogging. I'm going to start playing, table tennis or whatever. And probably by the 15th of January, we are already lagging behind, right? And many things that we planned doesn't happen. The same way in business, many things that we plan does not get achieved. And the reason why a lot of people ask, they ask this question: what's the reason behind the failures of our plans and strategies not achieving their targets? Great strategies, and the answer somewhere lies in this little illustration, where I would just encourage you to look at it for a few seconds. And this is a very interesting story. And this, I don't have the time to start asking all of you, what do you see and what are your thoughts? But I just want to very quickly tell you that this is a typical organization, right? This picture represents a typical organization where you have some leaders in the front who are setting the direction, and they're pulling the organization towards a strategic direction. And then you have team members in the back who are pulling, and they're pushing it. And together, by pulling and pushing, the organization is going towards certain direction. Let's assume the direction is correct. The question is, will they reach this destination? When you ask this question, some people will say yes, some people will say maybe, and some people will say no. But very few people say yes. Most people say maybe or no. That's because of the square wheels, right? So the point I'm trying to make very quickly, today, is that you might have a great strategy, a direction. You may have very involved, very sincere and hardworking leaders. You may have great team members. But if you have broken processes, if they're not aligned, there's no way you can reach your strategies. And this is the crisis in most organizations. We all have great plans and strategies, but when the rubber hits the road, when we start operating, when we start executing, there's a lot of challenges. And when you have challenges, obviously the boss will ask, hey, why? What's the problem? And the most common answer, to why is that people will say, we don't have enough people to push. So the most common answer is, give me more resources, give me more people, give me more IT, give me more machines, give me more money, give me more budgets, and we will move forward. And it's very clear, my friends, even if you have, add resources, suppose you add 10 more people, will this get better? Maybe a little better, but the CEO is very unhappy now because you have not only added more resources, but you have not made equivalent progress. So the point I'm trying to make is, we need to identify square wheels in our businesses. And this could be in design, it could be in procurement, it could be in manufacturing, it could be in sales and distribution. And it's very clear that if you just go and fix one wheel, suppose you just improve your manufacturing, it may not be enough, because you got to improve the whole value chain and not just not just one element of your business. So don't blame the people. And you got to understand that people are doing an earnest day's job. In most cases, it's broken processes. And funny enough, the solutions are very much within the organizations. We as leaders, we are not able to tap into our employees. People know the problems, even people know the solutions. And Kaizen is a methodology where you first try to identify the square wheels and then tap into your own people to find solutions and convert these square wheels into round. And it's not so easy. Sometimes you can only round it a little bit, then a little bit, and a little bit, and slowly over a period of time this becomes round. And that's why it's called continual improvement. It's not as if you stop, remove the square wheel and put a round wheel in one go. It's probably not so easy to do it. So I think you get my point. And my message has always been very simple. My chairman, my teacher told me that you may have great strategies, you may be ready to work for 15 hours, but people and process, they're not aligned or broken, then it's going to be difficult. So my message to the CEOs, global chambers, it's been consistent. We always been saying that focus on making your people capable so that the people can improve the processes, and processes will give you results. So it's people plus process is equal to result. You can't focus on the result. You can't manage your results. You can only improve and manage your people and processes. And this is applicable anywhere. You can apply it in new product design, in procurement, in manufacturing, in sales, in distribution. We do it for hospitals, hotels, manufacturing, for the governments, uh, all kinds of, because there is not a single CEO who doesn't want to improve, and there's not a single organization that is perfect. Everything can be improved, and that is the spirit of Kaizen. So my chairman, Masaki Imai, always, we unfortunately lost him last June at the age of 93, and he had one message all his life, and that was improve what you have. This goes back to what I said before. We always say, give me more, let's add. But he said, hey, we have a lot of resources already, right? I mean, you have equipment, you have space, you have money. I mean, if you go to a sales manager and tell him, hey, please improve sales, probably he'll say, give me a few more sales, members, sales team, salesmen, or give me more products, or give me more advertising budget. The point is, how do you move from this give me more to can I improve with what is already available? I think that mindset is extremely important. It's not only important for the balance sheet today, but very important for the world, because if you keep burning resources and using resources, you know where we are going. So Kaizen has got a mega sustainability linkage too. So the message is very simple. Don't keep adding. I'm not saying add is bad. You need to add sometimes, but have we explored deletion before addition? And we need to do this because ultimately we need to drive improvements, because customers want services, products delivered on time, in full, error-free. I mean, this is what a customer always wants, and at the lowest cost, right? He wants you to perform on time. He wants whatever he's expecting you to deliver, to be delivered, and no error in the product or service, no error in the transaction, documentation, invoice, whatever it is. They want an experience, a transaction which is error-free, right? And I just want to end with a few quick notes that this entire thing, which I'm talking about, the square wheels are nothing but the round, the red color, in this diagram. So what I'm trying to say is, anything that we do from for example, if you are in manufacturing, you buy raw materials, it goes through a process and becomes a finished good. And in this entire process, there is a lot of red and a lot of green. The green indicates value-adding activity, something that is worth doing, customers ready to pay for. All the red indicates the stupidity, the square wheels. And the whole focus of improvement is to focus on the red and not on the green. Focus on the red, not on the green. And as you start eliminating the red, what happens is your flow improves. And when your flow improves, we call it both material and information flow improvements. When it happens, you are rewarded with a third flow, and that is called cash flow. And my friends, CEOs, cash is the oxygen of business. If you don't have net positive cash flows, you're dead. And the only way to improve your cash flows is to work on improving your flow, whether it is flow within a design department, flow within procurement, within human resource. For example, if somebody comes and says, please help me hire a manager, how does that requisition of hiring flow through your processes? Do you take 6 months to hire? What kind of processes do you have? Are there square wheels? Can we do this faster? Can we do it cheaper? And things like that. So all these red things in Japanese, just for your interest today, it's called Muda Mura Mori. I have no intentions to go into the details. Muda means waste. Mura means variation. It's measured by sigma. And Muri means burden on people and equipment. And the Japanese have identified 11 enemies. I call them 11 enemies or 11 opportunities. Sorry. And these are the different types of non-value adding activities. There is variation, and there is strain on people and equipment. So there is 8 here, 1 here, 2 here. That's 11 opportunities to improve your business. And that is where you're able to focus on cutting waste and not cost. So I just wanted to conclude that there are a lot of tools, available, including ERP. I'm sorry, I'm having a bad throat. ERP is a tool. You might have heard of Six Sigma or TPM. Tools are fantastic. I'm using PowerPoint. It's fantastic, right? It's a tool to communicate. But don't forget, PowerPoint will not work unless I have Windows 10 loaded in my computer, which is called the operating system. And the operating system of a company is called culture. The message I'm trying to share with all of you is CEOs and companies and managers but don't for the tool to work, what you need to a good operating system. It's a role of a CEO. And when you have the right enabling culture, plus you use the right tools, you get information. So I'll just end there. By doing all this, you can save money, you can improve your company, whatever be your goal, but you can also build better teamwork, drive a culture of improvement, and engage your people in doing this. So thank you very much. That's my email. If anybody wants to reach out to me, thank you. And I hope I completed in time. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Shankar. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can. Shankar, are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Okay. Do you want to facilitate a Q&A?
Sure. Thanks, Jayant. Very, very insightful. And like Doug said, most of them are in the business of in leadership posts and positions. And what I thought was this is a great information that you have shared today, and maybe we can cooperate and coordinate and see how this could be taken in many metros, which are already there. But we have many clients, and some of them are owners of companies, and we can see a way forward to that. So going by the Q&A, let me.
I have a question to kick off.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Jayanth, given that you knew Mr. Imai, the book Kaizen was one of the most important books of my life. I actually ended up meeting Dr. Deming and spent a week with him in 1985. So that's how old I am, an old guy. But in those days, I got the book by Mr. Imai Sensei, and read it from cover to cover and just enjoyed it. I'm wondering how his life evolved, and as he reached his later years, what was his focus? Where did he feel like Kaizen could be applied next? How can we use what he knew and thought about so that we could benefit our businesses?
Thank you. I had really a lifetime opportunity to know him very well, to work with him, to learn, work under him, learn from him, travel with him. And it's been really a great opportunity for me. And, as he has contributed, he's among one of the foremost thinkers in this domain of continual improvement. Mega contribution. He brought Kaizen to the English-speaking world to the extent that Kaizen has become, so famous. It's generic, and if you Google Kaizen, there's so much of material available on it. His message, I think, as he progressed, he was always focused, worried, or concerned that people think of improvement as projects, and they don't understand that it's actually a culture, it's a mindset. Because excellence is something that you think about every day. Improvement is something that you try to do every day. But unfortunately, many times people think it's a project. You only improve when you have a problem, and you're not pushing yourself every day. So, and he says the CEOs and companies who understand it as a culture have really got it, and they really, they've been able to reap the benefits. So I think that's one thing that he was always sort of pushing for, and that is why one of the last books he released, the first one was Kaizen, of course, very famous. The second book was Gemba Kaizen, where in the second edition, me and my team members, we contributed case studies. We are acknowledged in the book by Imai-san. And the third book was Strategic Kaizen, where he said the same message, that it has to be part of your strategy. It's not a project, it's not a tool. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Shankar or RT or Andre or Devapriya or anyone in the room, I'm wondering, we haven't introduced Mark Cohen yet. And Mark, I don't know if you're able to talk, but because of your extensive international business, particularly with China, I'm sure you're familiar with Kaizen. Do you have a moment just to say hi? And did you have any impact or have any questions for Jayanth?
Doug, thank you so much for being involved with this wonderful conversation today. It's such a great spirit of everybody together talking with the global trade today. My takeaway is that in life and in business today, moving forward, I see that the compassion of gratitude is so needed today in doing business. The kindness of what's needed for the world today is really exceptional, and it's needed from the standpoint of having success with these strategies. The mindset I have felt is, with the 40 years of experience that I've had, is the different cultures today in the world are expanding out, and the government agencies are so at a rift today that we need to come together with the Kaizen background. We need to implement that in the world today to do business. In regard to China, more than anything else, it's the separation of the divide right now that we're all going through and the changes. But it's a wonderful time right now that we will all be able to excel, because when there's difficult times, that's when there's great changes in the world today. So my few comments are really the messages today are that we need to band together. We need to group together as one. And it's such a wonderful experience, Doug, to be on this call. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and how we can share our wealth of our past experiences.
Great comments. And Jayanth, when you were talking and also when Mark was talking, it reminded me of when I had the good fortune of running a joint venture in Japan with a very Japanese company. And I remember the feeling of what Mark talked about, of working together. Mark was talking about the world, but what I felt within the company was working together, constantly moving forward together, constant improvement. It's so ingrained in the Japanese culture. And yet I would visit Americans, and even today, it's not. Americans tend to look at it as you described, of like one project at a time and not really connected. So the connectivity that Imai Sensei talked about, that Kaizen brings to a company, is so important. Could you comment on that? At least that's my perception, right or wrong.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of time, but unfortunately, the attention span of the world is shrinking. I mean, I can go and keep rattling, but for example, CEOs of large companies are more interested in putting out news and results in every month, every quarter, because their stock prices, their own compensation is based on these things. So there is literally no long-term thinking. And I think in my humble, in my own personal opinion, the Japanese always said that think long-term, because organizations should exist for long-term. They have a purpose, not just about making money, but contributing to the society. And if you look at some of the best Japanese companies, they've been there for years and contributing. Sometimes I feel this is really lost. People are working on this quarter, making that deal, and I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but personally I feel it's there's no long-term thinking. There's no investment in people. In fact, are afraid to think. Thinking has become rare. People prefer to be busy so that they don't have to think. And so if you don't think, there's a problem. Thank you.
So true.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Any other questions for Jayanth, please?
Yeah, Jayanth, I have a quick question, if I may. This is Devapriya here. Absolutely impressive presentation, very quick, very focused to the point. My question to you really is that in today's very rapidly evolving global business ecosystem, could you share maybe 2 or 3 ways in which small and medium businesses can leverage Kaizen principles to enhance their competitiveness, foster innovation, and expand their presence internationally?
Yeah, I mean, you see, the first thing is you need to, so I'll just give you some very quick reactions. You need to sit down and think, and also think with your team as to where is the shoe pinching today. Okay. So as I said, you have strategies, people have ambitions, people have a wish list. What is preventing you from reaching it? First thought. And just to make it very simple, either it could be market side, demand side, or it could be the demand fulfillment side. That means you don't have enough customers, you don't have orders, so then you go and fix that. Or somebody will say, no, I have orders and opportunities, but I'm not able to deliver on time, or my quality is bad, or my cost is very high. So this is the first distinction. And once you know, you are able to wrap your head, and this will move. Probably first you start on the demand side, then the bottleneck may move to the production or the delivery or the operation side of it. So maybe somebody will say, no, our problem is design. We're not able to design quickly. So you need to really, you all have an ambition. What is stopping us? What are the square wheels? And they could be lots of square wheels, but you prioritize. You can't fix everything in one go. People say Rome was not built in a day, but people don't ask how many days did it take to build Rome, right? And that question is never asked. And the answer really to that was Rome was not built in a day, but it was built every day, right? So it's something that you chip away every day. It is not a project. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't, I mean, there is nothing called perfection. There is only Kaizen. There is only continual improvement. What is perfect in this world? The only thing, nature is perfect. Only thing about probably what the Almighty has created is perfect. Everything else can be improved and must be improved. So I don't want to be philosophical. I'm giving you hopefully something very practical. You have a growth plan, you have a strategy. Ask what is stopping you from there, whether it is demand side or delivery side. First question. If it is demand side, find out how can you create demand. Should we do some social marketing, media marketing, or should we do segmentation of our customers? Focus. You can't be everything to everybody. So that's all I think at this point of time I can share. Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jayant.
Thank you, Jayant.
How Imai Sensei talked about process. He did measurement, which was important. He understood that waste was something that we should remove, that throughput was something that we should increase. And so I'll go back to that alignment with Dr. Deming. And I think the other person that's in the triumvirate is Eli Goldratt. Between those 3 men, really modern business is built.
Absolutely.
So it must have been such an honor to meet Mr. Imai. Congratulations on that. I think we're at the end of the hour. Shankar, would you like to make any closing comments and anything else you'd like to share before we close the room?
Thanks, Jayant. It's very insightful, as I mentioned, and I take a few things from what you said today. And it's not just meant for manufacturing, right? It is meant for any industry, from retail to service industry, or whatever that you're doing. The process is so important. I learned recently, and I'm trying to get a group to work alongside here, which is called Venture Build, which is the Silicon Valley strategy for companies collaborating together to reach an outcome of exponential nature. And I go around talking to people, and they say that, we are entrepreneurs, we think a certain way, and we go forward knowing very well where to go. And my point is, this philosophical change, I'm able to understand from what you said and probably navigate my way, because only when people collaborate and understand that there is something greater that we are standing in front of, that we need to understand these processes of human dynamics itself, not be in silos, working alone, thinking, I know the answer, and I know where I'm going and stuff like that. So the Japanese philosophy and the Japanese management is so important. It's always been important, but today I think it's much more relevant in these changing times that always everybody should come together. So with that, I will end my part. But if there's anybody else who wants to say, yep, Jayant.
No, I just wanted to let you know that at any point, if you want me to talk about this in 10 minutes or 15 minutes to any group, I think eliminating waste, being more efficient is so important in today's world. It's got a green connotation to it. It's got a sustainability connotation. So I'll be happy. That's what I know, and that I'm happy to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. That's what we are looking forward to, and bring value to our existing clientele and existing associates, and have this level of contribution made to, get some exponential results. I would say 10x. Deva Priya and Santosh and the rest of my friends here, Arti and Andrea, thank you very much. And anyone else wants to say anything else to Jayant or communicate about today's event, happy to take a minute.
It might, Harold, what's your reaction? I'm sure this is not a new idea for you. You're such a leader in all the things that you do, especially around human trafficking. Any comments that you'd like to share?
Yeah, it was very inspiring, Jayant. I don't know you know about my story. I'm a survivor of labor trafficking and debt bondage, and I like the concept like this can be used and applied in my human trafficking field, which is a non-profit organization. And I liked about the wheels, the square. Like I always say that change your thinking, change your life. I work with a lot of victims, survivors. I just got in touch with one of the girls in Canada. She's almost trying to be at the fag end of committing suicide, and I'm trying to empower her. Like there are better things to do in life, like you said, and it's all how to improve yourself. So it's very inspiring. I'll be in touch with you, Jayanta, directly. And thank you, Doug, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Jayant, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you, Shankar, for pulling us together. I think we already have the next couple of these events scheduled, right? For both April and May. And then, so Shankar, you'll be leading the April and May cross metro meetup for India. And then I think Manoj has the next 3. And then Deva Priya has one as well. And Andre, hopefully you'll be in there as well. Do you have some topics for the next couple meetings yet, Shankar, or is that to be determined?
Well, I'm looking for certain leaders who can contribute the way Jayant has done today. And I will bring some topics relevant for all of us on an India scale and globally, and then post it in our group and take it on from there. I've identified a few, but I need to talk to them to get their go ahead, and I will reply that to you, Doug, shortly.
Sounds good. And when Shankar talks about our group, he's talking about kind of our internal WhatsApp communication group, I think. Then one of the changes that we're implementing is that we're allowing members to be part of those groups going forward. So we're in the midst of determining exactly how to do that and implementing it over the next month or 2. So watch for that. Let's see, so I see Elisa in the room, but Cesar's in the room, and usually we forget something to say something. Cesar, are you there, and did we forget anything, or is there something that we should know about that's coming up?
Thank you, Doug, and thanks everyone. No, I don't think so. Just maybe take an opportunity to shout out about some of the upcoming events and activities. We have an intercultural call with Victoria Reynolds on tomorrow. We have the League of Nonprofits. Harold is going to be speaking on Friday. And next week we have the League of Extraordinaries. We have the Spanish event. So there are a couple of things going on. So I invite you all to join us and check our calendar. So, thank you, Don.
Thank you, Cesar. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Have a great rest of the week. This is a little bit of an unusual meeting. We never usually do an early morning Monday here in the US meeting. We used to do, right when we were starting Global Chamber 8 years ago, we would do meetings on first thing on Monday mornings. And eventually people said, stop, it's crazy. And but it's a good time in India. So we'll decide, Shankar, you decide the best time to do it for your side. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of
Doug, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Giant.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
you. Cheers.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you,
David,
everyone.
Priya.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you,
Bye.
Thank you,
Andrea.
everyone.